guys. You guys.
Prediction? Yes, prediction. Pain.
Are you ready? I was born ready.
Obviously, you're a little, aggravated by the line of questioning regarding Canelo.
I don't want to touch this, dirty, so bad, I don't want to touch his name.
I'm working on feeling the art of humbleness. Hey, you being with me, that's the reason why I'm crying, because I'm not that person no more. And I miss him. Because sometimes I feel like a bitch. I don't want that person to come out, because when he comes out, hell is coming with him. And it's not funny at all. It must sound cool, like I'm a tough guy. It's just, I hate that I'm scared of it.
It would be awesome to, be being a great war, maybe with a Mexican.
Let's go! Way pop!
I have to put the joke.
No, hey.
Thank you for playing, man. I appreciate
Good
you.
timing, man.
Can't put predictions, man, but I definitely don't want to leave it to the judges.
We're in vivo, ladies and gentlemen. Long live boxing and vivo podcast with Manny Marrero.
Sean El Gringo Hicksa.
Hopper. Breaking it down like it is, like it should be. Always bring you the best news with the best fighters. Everything here only in Long Live Boxing.
Yeah, oh man.
Champions.
It's exciting times.
Right?
Well, I mean, not because of, what's going on with the pandemic or anything.
But that's not exciting.
It's not exciting at all.
We got boxing.
We have boxing.
Yeah.
And we have, somebody fought Saturday, right?
I know.
Somebody fought on Fox. Drew over 1 million eyeballs to it.
That was
1.2.
I mean,
became champion.
The highest rating boxing since
blew out top ranked summer series.
Yeah, 3 times.
Very close. Even very close to UFC. I don't even want to hear about it.
Wouldn't it be cool to talk to him?
Talk to who? The champion?
The champ.
I'd love to.
Ladies and gentlemen, the champ, Jamal Shango James.
Let's go!
Wow.
For having me, man. That's what's up.
Oh, man. Thank you for joining. This is, it's not every day you get to talk to the champ.
I know,
the current champ. Wow, man.
The new.
The new, baby. Finally got that.
How did that feel? Yeah, let's just start there. How does it feel to be called
Has it
champ,
sunk in yet?
Main eventing in Fox?
Man, it took a few days to really sink in, man. It's still kind of sinking in a little more, but it feels extremely good. I've been working at this for so long, man, for years and years. So to finally achieve that goal is, just a real big accomplishment, not only for me, but for my family, for my community that supports me and pushes me. So, yeah, it was dope. It was dope. Feels good.
Yeah, absolutely. Champ, it was just a amazing performance you had against Delorme. People were counting you out. Unfortunately, that's at their
really.
Not me.
Never
that's at their loss.
Never that.
Are you throwing at us? Are you slapping our faces?
No, not at all. But you chose the night to have, when you're on the biggest stage, literally, to have one of your best top performances. You landed Delorme by 89 punches. You put on a master class. You outboxed him. You used your jab. You landed in this sneaky little left hook to work to the body. You really kind of controlled the fight and took it to him as well, fighting off your back foot. So how does it feel to not only achieve your goal, but to show everybody like, hey, you're down the wrong person because the champ is here to stay?
Yeah, man, it feels good, man. I've been, telling people that I'm at that level, that I'm on that class, but I've always been a person that, acts more than talks, you know what I mean? So people didn't believe me, then I just got to show them, you know what I mean? So every time I get in the ring, I try to, step it up and look better and do something better, just to prove to people that I'm that high level tier of a fighter, and I'm coming for these belts, man, and I was coming for that belt, and God, blessed me with the gifts needed, and I got it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
He's coming.
You took it, champ, for sure. Another thing that stood out to me as well is like the way you were really utilizing your length and height and jab. I mean, you are 6'2". I got that 70-inch reach. And I've heard, honestly, sometimes there have been feedback that you're not necessarily utilizing and taking advantage of that with your height and, reach and distance advantage. So was it something that you saw within Delorme, or you just knew within yourself, like, I'm going to show the world that I can outbox him. Because that was one of the things people were saying, that, Delorme, he had the dog in him and that he'd actually outbox you. But, they weren't ready. They had no idea that the champ was in the building, and Shango was ready.
They didn't know.
People be sleeping on them skinny dudes, man. Cats, man. They got heart and dog in them too, baby.
You're right. Yeah. You're right.
And that's not to take nothing away from Delorme, but most definitely this was a title fight. This is something that I've been asking for years.
Mm-hmm.
So I really wanted to make sure that I made it clear that I deserved the belt. You know what I mean? I didn't want to leave anything up to chance. I was catching him with good shots, but he was able to take them.
Mm-hmm.
And when I seen that he could take those shots and he was strong himself, I didn't want to, be trying to slug with him and mess around and get caught with something silly, because it is boxing.
Right. Yeah.
So I just wanted to start boxing him, catch him where I could, you know what I mean? And if I heard him, then I tried to jump on him, but he was in shape. He came prepared too. He was swinging, with conviction on them punches.
Right.
I just, try to stay out the way the best way I could, and outbox him. I used just like you said, use the range, use my, God-given gifts that other people don't have, that frustrates them. Use the height, the range, the movement, all that, and just work them.
Yeah, absolutely. I've actually read on an article, and they were actually described it as a masterclass. And when you outbox somebody and land 89 more punches, when you're able to control, because it seemed like, he was able to have some success, but he wasn't able to get in. And once he was able to get in by the 6th round, pretty much from the 7th round to the end, I mean, you just kind of dominated. It wasn't like he just sat back. Obviously you guys were still going at it, but it was clearly you were in control and dictated how the fight was going to be fought. Like, you were going to be in the middle of the ring. You're going to use your jab. You're going to fight at a distance. So all those things were controlled and funneled through you. You were literally controlling the fight. So I think, to me, and I'm sure you feel the same way, were you trying to not just beat Delorme, and were you also trying to make a statement, tired of all the negativity and the doubt in what you're able to do?
Exactly. We needed to, you know what I mean? If we're talking about, coming after these bigger name guys, then we got to make a statement.
Mm-hmm.
We got to show them that we're ready for that level. You know what I mean? And I feel like we did it. I feel like, that was something that I was able to accomplish with this fight. Delorme wasn't, and he's not no pushover fighter. You know what I mean?
Well, it's known that he's a very strong one at the end rounds, and I think that everyone, even the commentators, are saying, "Oh, Delorme's coming." But did you ever feel at one point, obviously you had the fighting control, but did you feel at one point that he felt like you really got him frustrated, and he was just trying to throw bombs out there to see if something would happen?
Yeah, exactly. When you can box somebody real well, that makes them extremely frustrated, and they start trying too hard. And when a fighter is trying too hard, that leaves them very susceptible to get caught with nice shots, and it makes them more and more frustrated. You know what I mean? You just got to make sure that you're the type of fighter that can move and have the type of defense where you don't get caught with nothing crazy, because they're going to be coming harder. They're going to be trying to, swing for the fences because they're feeling like they're losing the fight. So, they're going to try to knock you out pretty much. But when you try to get a knockout, that's when you end up messing up a little bit. You know what I mean? When you just kind of stick to your game plan, or you try to adjust to whatever your opponent is doing until you find something that works, that's when you're able to come back a little bit. But I could tell that he was getting frustrated. I could tell that the jab and the range and the movement was messing with him. And like you just said, he just started kind of rushing in, trying to make something happen. And when I seen that, I was like, oh, I'm just going to take advantage of it. Or if he gets too close, then I'll just, hold him real quick, or step off to the side, do whatever I can, just make sure my D is tight so I don't get hit with nothing silly.
Yeah. And was there any added pressure fighting in the main event, especially against someone like Delorme? Any added pressure, or just didn't even faze you?
It was slightly more pressure just because, I really, really wanted this title, man. That was my whole campaign on my social media sites. Like, where's my belt? I've been wanting to prove to people that I deserved the title shot. And this camp, you know, it was just such a rough camp, and I had so much people pushing for me, and I didn't want to let nobody down. So it was just pressure like that.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't necessarily pressure like because I knew, you know, it was Delorme, you know what I mean? Because
right.
I mean, in my mind, anytime you get in there, you know, a fighter is going to be able to fight. If you let a guy think he could just beat you, or if you give him, you know, a little bit of an inch, he's going to go for it.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Take a yard.
That means any fighter you get in there with can be dangerous. You know what I mean? So you don't take nobody lightly, and you don't get, you know, shook if you in there with a bigger name fighter, because it's boxing, baby. You know.
Yeah.
All you need to do is catch them with that one shot, or just find that rhythm that they can adjust to, and keep working it. You know what I mean? So I wasn't pressured about him. I was more pressured just because I wanted it so bad, but I was able to keep the nerves at bay and handle business.
Got you. And then you touched on it right now. You mentioned how it was a rough camp. And I don't think people understand exactly how rough it was for you. You know, the stuff that you had to persevere mentally. I mean, you know, for lack of a better word, you know, rough is with the, you know, what happened with the tragic loss of your grandmother, you know, the whole situation that happened at the Circle of Disciple Gym. It's not far from what happened with George Floyd. I mean, you had so many things going on. And then also you had to quarantine 2 weeks at the hotel. You couldn't even go out or anything like that?
We was quarantined 2 weeks at the training camp.
At the training camp?
And then we had to fly in a week early, and we was quarantined a week in the hotel. Yeah.
Oh.
And you know, and that was very strict. And I mean, you know, it was needed because this pandemic ain't no joke. So, you know,
not at all. Not at all.
I understand it. I'm blessed to get the opportunity and make a couple bucks during all this craziness, because a lot of people out of work. You know what I mean? So. I can't really complain too much about that, but it is different. You know, it definitely is different, and it definitely can play, you know, a role on your psyche if you ain't built like that. So.
No, definitely. That's where that mental fortitude comes in. And what did you do to keep your mind off of it? Did you maybe play some video games or something? Call of Duty, Warzone?
Well, you know, when I get zoned in, man, when I'm in the camp and you zoned in, man, we get me in, and I just kind of just. Focus. Fall into myself. Yeah, I'm either training, eating, and sleeping. You know what I mean? I'll read. I'll
that's
play
what I'm talking about right there.
Watch some Netflix, you know, when I ain't training or something.
And that's why he's the champ. And that's exactly why he's the champ.
Exactly.
That's a sacrifice. You know what I mean? That's a sacrifice you got to make if you're trying to perform at that level. You know
well, I think every boxer needs to go to certain things to make it better. And this is one point that I want to kind of bring in. You had a stellar career. You know, you are the champ now. You started 20-0. You met against Jordanis Ugas. Tell us a little bit about what happened in that fight, and did that really? Were you ever thinking after that fight that you were kind of done, or was everything that happened within that fight? Is that something that gave you that strength to say, "I ain't giving up on the chance to be a champion"?
Yeah, no, that was definitely fuel to the fire. You know what I mean? Because. The thing with that fight, and it's nothing to take anything away from Ugas, because he's a great fighter, you know, but I just fought Wale and Watoso a month before I took that fight. That was just a month before. Right. And I didn't get news, you know, that was like we took that fight, the Ugas fight, very short notice, because he originally was supposed to fight Brian Perella. And Perella ended up having an injury. So they was calling people, and they called me up, me and my team up, and it was like the week of the fight, you know what I mean? And I had just got back in the gym. I mean, I still had a slight black eye from the last fight, you know, but it was one of those things where I had been winning. I was unbeaten there. I didn't do enough research into Ugas. I seen that he had the 3 losses and this and that, but at the time I didn't know he was a bronze medalist or none of that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and
it was just a lesson learned, you know, a humbling experience. You can't overlook nobody, man. You can't take nothing for granted. So I took the fight short notice, and I was still in shape because I just got done fighting, you know. So I was in shape, but I wasn't mentally in the zone. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I couldn't get my timing right with him. I wasn't in the zone like I usually am.
Yeah, because that was
And-
July 16, and the fight against Ugas was August 12. So he had less than 30 days to even not knowing
Quick
this
turnaround.
guy. I know. I mean, you just don't.
Is it even legal?
And almost also, that was a little bit of a hard fight for me because that was the first time I actually fought somebody that really blew up in weight the next day. He was like 165 going into the fight.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And I walk around real close to my fight weight. You know what I mean? I don't never blow up too big. So in that fight, I kind of boxed him, and I was hitting him with hard shots, but it was like, hitting a punching bag that was connected to a wall. You know what I mean? I was like, he wasn't swinging or swaying, or he was just like eating them and kept coming, and I was like, oh shit. I said, I just gotta keep.
Where have I gotten
boxing.
myself into, man? I should have just taken a rest or something like that, right?
I'll box him and get that win. And so and I'm the type of dude. I got the mindset, I'm real old school. So if I feel like I'm ready and they give you the call, like, hey man, we got to fight for you, especially at that time in my career.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm like, well, I'm gonna take the fight. If the business makes sense, I'm gonna take the fight. That's what this ain't no long-term career for me. I got to make the most of it. So if I'm feeling healthy and good, I'm gonna take the fight, make a couple extra bucks, make this record look good and this and that. Yep. But Ugas, he had his whole camp. He came prepared, and he's a good fighter. He's a good fighter too, better than what I had expected. And he did his thing, you know what I mean? But I was obviously mad because I lost the fight. I don't like losing. But I would never felt like, oh man, I need to think about what I'm doing, or I should start thinking about, my end game and getting to something else. It was more like fuel to the fire. It was a really good lesson learned that I needed. And ever since then, I never took another fight lightly. I made sure that I was 100% going into the fight every time. And, it's been showing out, It's been showing.
Speaking of showing out, you obviously, and let us know, champ, do you excel and strive off of adversity and challenges? Because it wasn't just enough for you to be the man and have the number one Nielsen rating fight, but not only get the belt, the interim WA belt, but you know what? You said, hey, I'm going to go ahead and call out the A-Division world champion, future president of the Philippines.
Woo!
Because, you're like, damn it, I'm Jamal James, and you better ask somebody. So
it's time for me to call out.
Yeah, so
I'll fight you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, so
right.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like.
What brought that about? Obviously, you're a warrior, you're a champion, literally, and you want to take on the best, like you said. You want to make the most of your opportunity in your career. Why do you want Manny Pacquiao? Do you mind sharing that with the fans?
Yeah, I mean, in my mind, the way I was raised is if you're going to do something, you're going to be the best at what you do. You know what I mean? I don't care if you're a janitor. I don't care what you is. Do your job correctly, do it right, try to be the best at your job. You know what I mean? And Pacquiao is one of those names in boxing still that is at the very top of the level. Everybody wants him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He got the WBA super belt. I'm highest ranked, now I'm the WBA interim champion. But at the time, even before that, I was ranked high in the WBA. I mean, I would like any of those guys that got big names. You know what I mean?
Right.
You got Earl up there. You got Danny. You got so
Keith,
much guys at the welterweight division. Yeah, Keith. Yep. You
Terrence
got
Butt,
Keith, you got all
Crawford.
these guys.
All those guys.
Exactly.
Get all the smoke.
So
Yeah.
so you got there's a nice, amount of cats at the welterweight division with some big names where you're able, where they're gonna test you in that ring, and you're able to make a couple bucks off of the fight, and it gives you the opportunity to prove to people that you are the best by beating them.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you can beat them, and that's where my mind is at. If I'm a box, I don't want to be, go real far and then just be like, oh, I did it just to say I did it, and it was like, yeah, I was pretty good, and then that's it. No, I I was the champion. I fought the cat and I beat this cat when nobody else, was doing that. I want to be able to say that when I retire,
Right.
Or at least say that I tried. You know what I mean? I'd rather go for broke, try my hardest and fail than to not try at all. You know what I mean? Or
Yes,
to be
sir. Yes, sir.
call these cats out. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Go there and figure it out.
Yeah. Well, we know that it just makes sense on paper. You're absolutely right. I mean, the one that makes sense is
Any
just
of those
Manny Pacquiao.
matchups is amazing, though.
Manny Pacquiao is the one that makes sense. He's a super champion of the WBA, right? And there's quite a lot of people right out there. But when you think about this, you should be next. But there's also, I think that Ugas is still there. I want to ask you, would Ugas be someone that you probably can think to say, I would want to rematch him for people wrong? Is that something that is, because I think that probably they, knowing that Ugas may be number 1 ranked right now, but you're the interim champion.
And you're number 5.
And you're number 5.
WBA.
So for him, it would make sense to say, I'll try to beat him one time. Get me now in my best.
Full camp,
not a 1 month ahead.
Right.
Is that something in your mind? Would that be something that you would consider? Or you just say, listen, I moved on from that stage. I want the real stuff.
I want Pacquiao.
The big guys.
No, I'm considering all that, man. If the business is right, I'm down to go, man. Al Heyman, my manager, man, they really been looking out for me. They be showing a lot of love. They've been creating some of the best opportunities for me in my career. So whatever they kind of come to the table with, I'm going to listen and pretty much, I'm sure I'll probably be down with. But, yeah, if they come with a Ugas, we can make decent money off of a rematch fight. Why not?
Sign me
up.
Sign
me up.
Sign me up for anything. Jamal against Keith, against Porter, against.
I'm a different dude. Like, it's never personal for me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't dislike Ugas or Pacquiao or none of these cats. You know what I mean? All these fighters are in here. They trying to provide for their families. They trying to do. You know what I mean? They got their own agendas and stuff, and they all train hard. They all work hard. I know because I train hard and work hard. But, we got to fight. That's the business we in. We got to fight each other in order, to provide like that. And somebody got to be the winner. Somebody got to be the loser. Let's see what, let's see who got that will. Let's see who can do it,
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all it is after the fight. I shake hands with you. I go, break bread with you or whatever else. But
hey, business is business. And when it comes about business, you got to provide. And absolutely, you're absolutely right.
Friend, you're cool out of the ring, but in that ring, hey, it's all.
Fans, a great show. Let's go at it. And, afterwards, they can enjoy the fight. And we can, relax, rest, heal up and go travel with family and friends or whatever and do whatever, So that's what I'm on, man, So. I'm down for whoever. As long as the business is right and it makes sense, I'm down.
Show me the money.
Absolutely.
EnVivo, ladies and gentlemen, with the interim WBA champion, Jamal James.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and also I want to touch base on your nickname, Shango.
Shango.
Yeah, and if you could just touch on the whole story about what it came out to, and then I heard the song that you came out to. That was pretty cool too. The one that you walked to the ring, ring wake on Saturday. So can you just elaborate on the whole where Shango comes from? Just let our fans know, and what song you came out to on Saturday night. Let them know what song that was. It was.
Yeah, most definitely, man. Originally I got Shango from my grandfather. My grandfather is from Trinidad and Tobago.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Yeah, so when he moved to Minnesota, he was a musician. And he kind of brought calypso music to the Midwest in a big way. And he had a real popular band called Shango. And I remember, just being able to see him perform, just a handful of times I was able to see him perform. And the times that I was able to spend with him, he was just kind of like a magical dude to me because he had like a super heavy, strong accent. So you really couldn't understand, patois, island accents. As a kid, I was like, what is this dude talking about? But it sounds so cool. And he was real tall, dark-skinned dude. And he was just always, in a good mood and stuff like that. And he ended up passing away a few years back after doing a show. He got on stage, I had a heart attack and passed away, And so to kind of just keep that memory alive of, of my roots, and to be able to stay rooted of, where my ancestry and stuff is from. I wanted to take the name Shango, and then I had found out before I even took the name where he got it from and where it originated from. So Shango comes from, African mythology, if you want to call it mythology, but it was an African practice that spread all through the Caribbean and stuff. And Shango is the god of thunder, lightning, fire,
wow,
other stuff. Yeah,
deep.
Man, this is one
that's
of
a cool nickname.
This is one of the greatest nickname stories ever.
It is.
Instead of lightning or something, just something generic.
It's basically like the African Thor with some extras.
Man, Black Panther and Thor all rolled into one. And now he's got the WBA interim welterweight belt.
The superpower.
That's what's up, champ.
I was curious too, because Shango, I'm from Puerto Rico, so Shango are those. What do they call the big blackbirds? They're here in Texas. What do they call?
Crackles.
The crows?
The crows, yeah. We call them changos.
They're little.
No, the bigger ones.
Oh, okay, got you.
The ravens.
The ravens.
Exactly.
Quote the raven nevermore.
We come changos. So I was just curious about that. Very interesting that you got the roots going on, and you have you still thinking about the
Don't confuse us, Manny. Don't confuse us over here.
I'm just only saying because I was confused.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I'm confused.
We don't
you're
spell it
being
that way.
confused. Sorry about that, Jamal.
So champ. One thing I wanted to ask, as far as you talked about the sacrifice going into the fight. And then, you also were so focused, and you were able to come out and have the victory and have an amazing performance, masterclass, and really just shine when you needed to. But what was the feeling, did it bother you that it was in the arena, and you weren't able to, share it with your family and friends? Or did you that actually was a benefit because you could focus more? How did you view that situation? Or you're like, I got the belt, so it doesn't really matter right now. You didn't even think about it.
I didn't even think about it, to be honest, man. Obviously it would have been dope to fight where it was supposed to be held originally, which was going to be here in Minneapolis at the Armory. That's where I had my last four or five fights. Can't remember. I think it was 4 fights. It was right here in Minneapolis.
Yep.
And that's where they originally had set it up for in April. So, that would have been dope to be able to do that in the hometown.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
And win a title right there and be able to, turn up a little bit after that.
Yep, last 4.
But, the pandemic hit and everything is going on. So much craziness started happening. Pandemic is hitting worldwide. And then, obviously, the George Floyd stuff, my city really, the city really shook up and went crazy after that. And so much people are out of work because of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
In my city specifically, because of all the looting and riots and all that stuff is going on, there was more people out of work because a lot of businesses shutting down,
right?
And all that stuff. You couldn't. So I had no idea when we were going to be able to compete again. You know what I mean? Because.
Yeah.
When it got rescheduled the first time, I'm like, okay, it's because of the pandemic. I'm thinking, I didn't know how serious the pandemic was yet. I mean, I knew it wasn't nothing to be messed with, but I'm figuring like, they're going to come up with a vaccine or some type of cure real soon here. And
right.
Things will get back to order real quick. But this is a worldwide pandemic. Things are still, people are still trying to adjust. Forever, be the same, actually. You might have to make serious adjustments to life,
Absolutely, champ.
So, truthfully, I was just happy to get in there and be able to get this fight on, man. Make a couple bucks and
that's what it's about.
Grab a belt
in the process,
and come back home with it.
I want to talk a little bit. I want to talk a little more about Jamal James. When you're not boxing, maybe something on a more personal level. I take it you're from Minnesota. You're a Minnesota Vikings fan.
Yeah, man. I got a rep
the purple. Oh, we just
Vikings fan, Timberwolves, all that good stuff.
we just signed their defensive end, Everson Griffin. Everson Griffin just came to my boys. Everson Griffin. We just signed the defensive end from you guys. He's over here with the Cowboys now. So yeah, we'll match up soon. But not. I mean, what other hobbies do you have when you're not boxing? Like, what do you with favorite other sports or?
You know, the gym that I train out of is a nonprofit, man, and I grew up through there called the Circle of Discipline.
Oh wow!
And the Circle of Discipline works. You know, the main focus is it works with inner city youth. You know what I mean, and gives them the one of the main programs is our fitness program, and we use amateur boxing with that. That's kind of like the draw, you know.
Gotcha.
And but the facility itself is open to everybody. We work with families.
Nice. Look at that.
We work with white, black, Latinos. We got a big Somalian community here in Minnesota. We got, you know, so we're open to everybody, and everybody comes down there. And I volunteer down there in between fights. I still go down there to train, obviously, but I teach workout classes. I run a leadership group every Thursday with the young men and women where we talk about just different issues and stuff like that, you know, as far as how to be, you know, a man or a strong woman or in your family or in your community and stuff like that, how to deal with peer pressure, how to, you know, have good work ethic, how to, you know, manage finances and all that stuff, because those are stuff that, you know, those are lessons that you don't get taught that, you know, coming out of the hood and coming out of low-income communities.
Right.
You know what I mean? You only get taught how to hustle and how to try to survive.
Right.
You know
That's exactly it.
So you gotta learn. We gotta learn how to thrive. You know what I mean? We gotta learn how to get ourselves out of situations like that.
A champion with the good head on his shoulders and a great heart.
Amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, man, that's great.
I grew up down there. I've been down there ever since I was 5 years old. You know what I mean? I'm still down there, and that's where I learned how to box. That's what the people down there made me the person I am today, you know, because they took the time, the men and the women, they took the time to teach me lessons and to, you know, help me out and support me when I was trying to do things. And I was just truly blessed to have that. You know, I really had a whole village, and I want to make sure that I give that back. You know, everything that I receive, I want to give that back to the next generation, because that's what it's about.
It is. Really is. You know, the ambassador you create and the legacy you go through. I mean, some of these kids, young kids, are going to start getting away from the streets.
Bigger legacy out of the ring.
Out of the ring. That's what it's all about. And I think that's when you have the total true championship package, where you can come in and demonstrate your talent, God-given talent you have in the ring, which you surely know have wowed a lot of people, and you know, telling everyone that you're here to stay, but also doing it at outside. And I'm glad to hear this story, because a lot of people don't understand that. Yeah. They only know that you're a boxer, you're always training, but behind the scenes, what you do with the community,
giving back to the community.
That
probably means more in the eyes of, you know.
Absolutely. And that's how we are. At least we as fans, we look at some of those things.
Wow,
we're a little bit more than that. Yeah. We as fans, we look about more of what can you do inside the ring, outside the ring. So I have to give it up for you, champ. I'm so impressed and amazed with you, and I you know, it's.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for sharing. To be honest,
no doubt, man. You know, again, you know, just like that's what it's about, man. You know, that's the real wealth. You know what I mean? You can make all the money in the world, but you ain't gonna be happy. You ain't got nobody to share it with. You ain't got nobody to share experiences with. Yep. You know, you ain't changed nobody's life. What is you really doing then? You know what I mean? Because when you pass away, you can't take none of these materialistic things with you. You know, what you want to do is try to set it up so, you know, your family could be set up, and also the ones that you care about, and the next generation can be set up better than you were when you took it over. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that's at least that's how I was taught. That's how I was taught.
No, that's a great way to think. Absolutely.
One of my main things is to, you know, achieve as much as I can in this boxing thing, but also to use my platform to bring awareness to issues like that, to make, you know, positive social change in the communities and with the people that really need help and really need change in their life.
Do you feel that that's your biggest influencer, just thinking about those things and those kids that are needing, and is that something that motivates you to push to go to that next level and eventually make those bigger, major, you know, paydays, so you can really go out there and start planting that seed to these kids?
Exactly, man. You know, I'm fighting for that. You know what I mean? When you're fighting for something bigger than yourself, you know, it pushes you.
Wow.
It pushes you harder than any, you know, drug that cats be trying to sneak in and take or anything else. Yeah, you know, that stuff really pushes you because you don't want to let them down. I know so much of these young men and women are looking up to me. I know the community, I'm able to bring hope, especially, to Minneapolis in a time like this with the, fresh out the George Floyd stuff and fresh into the whole, justice revolution, reform and everything like that. This win is able to bring a little bit of hope to that community and to those people, and they can see like, man, you can really be different. You can really change stuff. Here's a cat that came out of the south side of Minneapolis, still in the south side of Minneapolis, didn't have a whole bunch, but was able to change his whole situation up. And he didn't take it and run and go buy a mansion way out in the burbs somewhere and don't mess with nobody. I'm still right here. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm still here, baby.
Killed George Floyd was like 5 blocks away.
Really?
Where I live right now.
Yeah,
5 blocks away
from the gym.
I was in the neighborhood. I was running past that store all the time. My brother owns a store a block away, right down the street, a block away from where that incident happened. You know what I mean? All them protests and marches was going right past his crib. It was coming right down our street. So we out here, man. We in it. You know what I mean? You gotta be some type of use your platform for some righteousness and for some positivity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Always be asset.
So, Champ,
be selfish with your stuff.
Those that are supporting you and those that continue to support you, because selfishly, asking as a boxing fan, I have to know, when can we get the honor and pleasure of seeing you back in the ring? Is that conversation happening? Has that been, now you had options before, but now you really have options. So what can we expect that you're able to share?
Are you back in camp too?
Oh, man, we're going to get back in there. I think, they got a lot of fights going on right now. What is it, August? Yeah. So it probably won't be till next year, okay. I'm thinking. Okay. But it'll probably be early next year. Like, I'm taking just like a week or two just to relax and,
for sure.
have a quick vacay with family. And
well-deserved vacay. Tough fight.
Yeah, I recently got engaged previously.
Oh, congratulations.
Well, I'm 14 years married, and Shango,
yeah.
Good luck. I'll keep it quiet. You know what?
The real fight begins.
I'm gonna just move on. Think about it. I'm kidding.
Go for it, Shango. Go for it.
I'm just kidding. It's a joke. I love
It's
my
a
wife.
blessing. Don't listen to Harvard. The guy's bitter. But I'm definitely not bitter. We had a chance to talk to you.
No, it's been amazing.
Been amazing.
It's amazing.
Thank you so much. I mean, you're very humble, easy to root for, easy
heart
to
of
watch.
gold.
Just an amazing story, and that's the whole point of why we want to do this. We want to share the stories of the people that truly embody what we believe boxing is truly about, and you absolutely fit
helping
that.
the community.
So yeah, thank you so much. Continue doing what you're doing. We're going to continue.
We'll be watching for sure.
Yeah. And pushing, this story as much as possible.
We're going to be pushing this, yes sir.
Yeah, you're the man. You're the champion. The champion's in the building, and we're honored to be able to speak with you.
It was a privilege.
Honestly,
Anything you want to send off
shout
to
out
your
anybody,
fans
call somebody out. Call out Pacquiao again.
You know what? I just want to thank y'all for having me on here, man. I want to thank all my supporters, man, and showing me so much love. You know what I mean? After I won that, even before I won it, people was just really reaching out to me, via social media and text messages and phone calls, just really pushing for me and showing they was behind me. And, that really, I seen that. You know what I mean? I don't want people to think I didn't see it because sometimes it's so much I wasn't able to get back to everybody, or I might have missed somebody. So I want to, really show my appreciation for all of that. And for, anybody who just now heard of me, I might think about, following me. Please just look up Shango Nation on all social media sites, and you can find me. And I'll let everybody know what's going on with me inside and outside the ring. And once I know what's going to be next, then, y'all will know.
Shango Nation.
Shango Nation, baby.
Shango
in the
Nation.
house.
Yeah, we appreciate you being with us, champ. It is an honor. I am a fan, definitely.
I am the fan. We actually share the same birthday. So.
Yeah,
Hey, that's what's up, man.
Happy birthday. Yeah, it was your birthday last
game recognized game, brother.
Game recognized.
Right.
But much luck with your
Continued
engagements
success
and your
and-
success.
yes.
Continue to work on your craft. We look forward to see you in the future, and I appreciate a lot coming in. This is Long Live Boxing en Vivo Podcast 54.
Fuera.
Se acabó.